Okay, so here's the homework for chapter 16. Let's see if there are any questions that you have about the parsing. So we'll look at the first part here. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
So,
Complaints? No, just kidding.
Number 7 on the parsing. Would it be he, she, it speaks?
So number 7?
Yes, number 7.
Okay, yeah. What's the lexical form? The lexical form is always the present active indicative first singular. It's luo, right? What does the word luo have to do with? Speaking or loosing? It's loosing. So yeah, so how would we translate this? He, she, or it?
I think that's not for English.
What's that?
Loosing, we just don't say it.
Yeah. Well, like if you had some sandals that you needed to loose, I guess you do that, right? Yes. Yeah, or to loose. So he, she, or it. All of those are possible subjects. You could also just say looses. Okay, so looses or is loosing. Both of those are fine. Now,
It would be wrong if I just said unite or destroyed.
Destroys would be fine. Yeah, that's okay. If you sort of like violence, it's good. No. Okay, let's talk about parsing here because we've been parsing nouns and pronouns and all sorts of things like that and adjectives. Now we're parsing verbs. So over here, notice that he has person or case, number, and tense or gender. Now, this is what he's trying to do is he's trying to give you some options for whether you have nouns, adjectives, pronouns, or verbs. So if you've got a verb, you're not going to put a person and a case. It's just going to be person, okay? If you've got a noun, it'll be case, but not person. So in this situation, we're going to put, if it's a verb, person and number. So that would be third and singular, or 3S. If it's a verb, we're going to choose tense, not gender, okay? Voice, then mood. So here, it's present, active, indicative. And I don't mind if you abbreviate that as PAI.
I think that I meant 8.
Okay. Yep, no worries. So let's look at 8. Yes. So as far as determining which form it is in order to parse it properly, what I always recommend is that you try to find any identifiable inflectional endings, personal endings, and any identifiable stems based on the lexical form that you've learned. Well, have we learned a verb that has the leg part in it? Yeah, we have Lego, right? So if you know Lego, you can go ahead and jot down your lexical form, which is Lego. And what does Lego mean? Okay, good. So I say. And what we're going to do, though, is in our translation, we're going to provide the inflected meaning, which means we're not going to give the meaning of the lexical form. That would be the lexical meaning. We want the inflected meaning. That is to say, what's the meaning of the form we have over here? And that means we have to analyze this and look at that te ending and ask ourselves, what is that? Well, that is one of your personal endings for the present active indicative, isn't it? Which person and number is that? It's second plural. That's right. And if it's second plural, we're going to translate this with what pronoun? You or y'all, right? So y'all. And then we already know that leg has to do with saying. And what's this epsilon right here? Yeah, it's just the good old connecting vowel. Does it make sense to use the epsilon before the letter T or tau? Yeah, because I use omicron when? Before a mu or nu. And tau is not a mu or nu, so I use epsilon everywhere else. That's right. And of course, right now, the answer is always present active indicative, isn't it? It's the only tense we know. There you go. So you or y'all are, if we're going to use the progressive type of translation, are saying. Okay, or say. You or y'all say. Okay. Well, okay, so Greek has another verb, laleo, which typically is translated as to speak. So when we say to Lego, right, when that's our verb, usually a quotation is going to come after it. And if you think about the difference between the English verbs to say and to speak, we usually preface quotations with say or said, right? Versus if we just say he spoke, that's usually just summarizing that he performed a speech act, but it's not always going to be followed by a quotation. Okay. All right. Any other parsing questions here? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
I noticed that number 9 didn't have a voice removed because it's chapter 14.
Yeah, it's not even a verb, is it? Sneaky, sneaky. So what did we do with that? What is that? Yeah, is it a noun? It's actually a pronoun. And which kind of pronoun is this? What kind of pronoun is that? It looks just like a genitive plural case ending, doesn't it? And there's a certain kind of pronoun that just looks like case endings. Yes, that's the relative pronoun. That is right. Relative pronouns. Okay, good. Now, so I tip my hand here. The own ending is what? What case? Genitive. So I'm going to have to go back up here, right? Case goes in the first box. So genitive. The number is either singular or plural. This is genitive plural. Good. And what gender is this? It could be any of those. Are you serious? Okay. Yeah. Good. By the way, what? Now, I asked this a little earlier, and the answer, there was only one. But here, it's actually multiple. What declension pattern does the relative pronoun follow? It follows a 2-1-2 pattern. The masculine form is second declension. The feminine form of the relative pronoun is first declension, and the neuter is back to second declension. Do you remember what the lexical forms of the relative pronoun are? Yes, has. What? Hey and ha. Okay, and I do recommend that with your pronouns like this, you use all three of them for your lexical form. Just get those drilled into your head. Has, hey, ha. Has, hey, ha are the forms of a relative pronoun. Okay? All right, and how do we translate this? Yeah, so of, yeah, and it's either of whom or of which, exactly, depending on what gender it is. And since we have no context, we don't know. So any of those are plausible. Of whom, of which. Well, now, if I wanted to use whose, I don't have to say of, right? This is the man whose car I took, right? So whose would be another way if it were a possessive sort of genitive use. Okay, good. All right, excellent. Any other questions about parsing here? All right, if not, these are pretty straightforward, most of these are. Let's look at your warm-ups. Any questions about the warm-ups? And perhaps you're going to have questions about Mounce's answer key as it pertains to using ing forms for these present forms. But go ahead, you ask me. Questions?
Can you do beta?
Beta. Yeah, let's take a look at that. Repeat after me, everybody. Tein phonei autou. Akues. Okay, is there a verb here? Yeah, akues is my verb form, right? Now, can you tell by looking at it what the person and number of the verb form is? Yeah? Which person and number is it? It's second singular. And you know that by the, that sigma at the end, right? So what does this mean? How would you translate this? Just the verb. You hear or are hearing, right? Okay, now take a look at tain phone now too. Looking at the news here, what case is tain phone? It's accusative. It's accusative. This is a feminine noun, phone, that has an accusative singular case ending. And that means that its likely function here is what? Direct object, right? Accusative case frequently marks direct object function. And so it's what you hear. So you hear or are hearing, tain phonane, what's that? The sound or the voice. Both are possible, right? And then L2, what case is L2 with this omicron followed by an upsilon with a circumflex? It's genitive. Genitive. Is it singular, plural? Singular. And it could be masculine or neuter here, right? So we don't know what it refers to. So unless we figure out, oh, this is probably John's Gospel, chapter 3, Nicodemus and Jesus talking about the wind. Okay, maybe that's it. Okay, but it's either you hear the voice of him, or you hear the sound of him, or you hear the sound of it, depending on what the referent is for that L2. Okay, and I forget what Mounce does with this translation. What does he say? So you hear the sound of it then. Yeah. If you want to be really provocative, you hear the noise of it. So that is a way to translate this. But if the topic of discourse is the wind or the spirit, then you're gonna translate a little bit differently. Okay.
Okay, so verbs have to agree with the subject's person and number, right?
Well, yes. So if the subject is a pronoun, the pronoun's going to be first, second, or third person, right? If a pronoun is actually used. Sometimes there's not going to be a subject pronoun at all. And so you won't have any overt subject. You just have the verb with the personal ending to tell you what the subject is. Okay? So the ending here is second singular. What's my second singular pronoun? It's Sue, right? You. But Sue's not actually here. So, but my subject is still you, even though I don't have Sue, because I've got the right personal ending to tell me it's you singular, right? So what's in front is not the subject. It's the object, and I know that because of the case endings. Yeah. Okay. Other questions? Quickly?
I just kind of have a general question in our translations. So, like, Mounce uses a lot of the ing verbs. How should we translate? Should we translate in that way, or
I don't require you to constantly use ing progressive forms. So if you just do sort of a simple present translation, that's okay with me. Okay, so
situations where we should use the progressive and like versus form?
I would say if you know the context, and when we're dealing with little snippets, there is no context, so it's really hard to go down on one side or the other. But if you're translating a Greek text, and so you've got what comes before and what comes after, usually you'll be able to tell it. It'll contextually be clearer. All right, real quickly, does anybody have a question about any of these translations? Yes. Number 9. Okay, good. So let's take a look here. So humon is which pronoun? So yes, it's a second singular or plural. That's plural. Okay, it's a second person plural pronoun. The own tells you it is genitive. Okay, it's genitive. So we don't know what this genitive pronoun is anchored to just yet. It happens to be first, okay, but it actually belongs, believe it or not, with something a little bit later in the verse. It belongs with hoi ophthalmoi. All right. There's no verb in these first 5 words, is there? We have to supply one. We have to supply a copular verb, to be. Remember, in Greek, we can have clauses that are copular where the copula is missing or verbless. So, what does makarioi mean? Yeah, it's blessed. So, blessed, hoi ophthalmoi, the eyes, and then humon actually is genitive in relation to it, of you. So, blessed, the eyes of you, which is to say, blessed are the eyes of you, or blessed are your eyes. The day is a postpositive what? It's a conjunction. It joins clauses. It can be translated as and or but it seems it develops the thought of the discourse with an additional clause here. So you're going to translate it first, even though it in position it always has to go second. That's what a postpositive conjunction does. So, and or but your eyes are blessed, or but blessed are your eyes, hati. Hati could mean a couple of things, right? That, since, or because. So perhaps he's giving the reason that he makes this pronouncement of blessing. And if he is, we're going to try on because and see how that works. Because blepusin, what's that? Is it speaking? Seeing. Okay, because they see. What is the they here? Yes, it's the eyes. So blessed are your eyes because they, your eyes, see. Kai ta ota. He has to tell you that means ears, right? Ta ota humon. The ears of you. Same pronoun. Notice that this pronoun is where we expect it to be, which is right after the body part. Yes? And that goes to show you that this also really belongs after, but it's been fronted for prominence. All right? So blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears. Because aku usin, they, the ears, hear. Okay? So what's happened here is that the pronouncement of blessing is overtly stated in the first half, and it's assumed or implied for the second half. Blessed are your eyes and your ears. Yes?
Could you translate it as blessed are your eyes that see and your ears that hear? Or is that?
No, because if it were your eyes that see, you wouldn't have hati, you'd have a relative pronoun, right? So that's not what we have. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See, and that's the thing, is that the word that, when it's translating hati, is different from the word that when it's translating a relative pronoun. Okay? So the man that came to dinner, that is a relative pronoun, that. Okay? But I know that the man that came to dinner is my father. Then the first that is a hati that, right? I know that such and such is the case. I know that you love me. And that's why you're in my Greek class. Okay. Good. Well, let's stop there. If you have any other questions, by all means, shoot me a note during the week, and we'll do a quiz on chapter 16. Next week, we won't do any introductory stuff for the new semester, so we'll dive right in. We'll do a quiz on 16, and then we're going to go right into 17 and 18. So you worked on 17 this week, past week, work on 18, add that, and we'll try to cover both of those chapters next time. All right, thanks.